you can hear me. Everybody tuning in, which from the the view count, but whatever. What's up, everybody? This is the bad show. Uh, cause it's a bad show. Yeah, it really is. Well, we got a few things to talk about, I guess. Mostly related to Fortnite, I guess. This probably won't be a very long show, or at least it won't go the full hour. I've been cutting the show off a few minutes because I just feel like I've rambled too much. But anyway, so I can go ahead and jump on into things. First thing I want to talk about, though, is if you can read the screen through the terrible quality. Um, Earlier this week, I went ahead and decided that for anybody who watches my YouTube channel knows that every now and then I do what I call 5 minutes of Fortnite videos. I don't know if I've ever talked about it here before, but what I do for those videos is because Fortnite games can be very uneventful if you don't run into people. At least they were before, and they've added things now in the game, like, or at least where the current season is, where they have the Marauders that will roam the map. Um, and like if you're in the water in certain places, you have to deal with loot sharks. So there are things in the game to keep it from being completely boring, or which it can still be boring if you're actually trying to win and you decide you've got to hide a few places, hide a little bit, wait the storm, wait till to see where the storm stops and everything like that. And pardon me while I take a sip of something here. Okay, that's a little better. A little bit better. Anyway, the reason why I do trim we got a video we got a viewer. I almost said video. Hello. Why is my chat thing not showing? I just realized it's not showing. Come on, chat box. Oh well. Anyway, while that's loading, since the Fortnite playthroughs can be pretty long, and at least when I was starting, there was plenty of stretches where there would just be me roaming the map or hiding. And okay, now I gotta fill my email out. Thanks, chatbox. Anyway, that would leave a lot of just footage of me doing not much of anything. So I decided to trim down the parts to just anything that I thought was funny or entertaining. Portions where I take somebody out or somebody takes me out. And okay, I'm gonna capture thing where click all the boxes that show the fire hydrant. Thanks. Anyway, so my 5 minutes of Fortnite videos are just trimmed down versions of me playing different rounds of Fortnite in the Battle Royale. And anyway, on top of that, I thought, it's kind of boring. There's not a lot of sound. I mean, they've added some music to it in certain situations, but if you're just sitting in one particular place or, roaming the map on your own, there's not really any music. So I thought what would be fun would be to just throw in random video game music over my 5 minutes of Fortnite videos. So at first it was like Mario Party 2 music because I just thought it sounded fun and some of the music is wacky. So and then I was like, oh, I used all the Mario Party 2 music, so I need to move on to something else. And so I picked a few from like Banjo-Kazooie. I just made a video where it hasn't dropped yet, but one of the more recent ones I used a track from Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. That's an old game. I got a really funny one saved too, my most recent video, but I don't want to mention it yet. But you'll when you see the motif and the inspiration for it, you'll get it. Because that's kind of the whole other thing with my 5 minutes of Fortnite videos is I try to pick a theme or to go with. One that I will talk about is because the whole driving the cars thing is new. Well, it's not new now. It's been in for a few weeks now. But the whole driving mechanic that they've added, where you can drive the cars now, uh, you can take people out, of course, by running them over. And the first thing I thought of when that happened was The Simpsons Hit and Run. So I borrowed a music track from that game and put it over my Fortnite footage of me running over people. So, see, stuff like that is what, makes these videos fun for me. It takes a little bit of time to figure out exactly what footage I need to get to work in between that 5 and 6 minute mark. Because I'll record like an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of footage, and then just got to get it down to 5 minutes. It's not incredibly hard, but sometimes it can be. Although there's been a few times where I recorded enough footage and was able to get 2 videos out of it. So it just depends on how I do. But anyway, that's going to be a weekly thing going forward. So every Friday at 5 p.m. at Central Time, there'll be a new 5 minutes of Fortnite video. And I probably will be behind in whatever, the season time is. Like, I still have one that I did from the very first time I played in this current season, in Season 3, that I haven't dropped yet. And with Season 4 starting supposedly next week, well, I shouldn't say supposedly, they basically said, yes, it's starting next week. There will be no delay. So the Season 3 5 minutes of Fortnite video will drop right after Season 4 launches. So that'll be funny. But anyway, I'm glad to do those because doing them all at once, to me, I didn't like that. I did that one week, maybe back in June, maybe. I did 5 straight days of my 5 minutes of Fortnite videos, and I didn't like throwing them all together like that. But anyway, so yeah, every Friday at 5, a new 5 minutes of Fortnite. So that's enough about my own personal YouTube plug there. We'll go on and jump into the other part of the Fortnite news, which is about the game in general and how the teasing for Season 4 is already well underway with this little graphic here, which apparently is Thor. I did not know that. Apparently this is a newer incarnation of Thor that I haven't seen. See, I like superheroes, but I don't follow comics that closely. I was always more of a fan of the cartoon shows. I like the Justice League cartoon from, now what was it, 15 years ago? Probably maybe a little bit than that. But even some of the more recent ones, I liked the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That was that was the closest thing to a Disney Marvel version of that Justice League cartoon. I would say I would say they're about the same as far as the mood of the show. Maybe the Avengers cartoon was slightly less dark-ish, maybe. I mean, it was plenty violent and they treated it serious. It wasn't a big joke. The second Marvel show, what was it, Avengers Assemble, it seemed to be more it looked pretty, but it seemed to be more lackadaisical. I don't know if that's the proper word or not. It seemed like it wasn't quite as serious. They made a lot of, I would say, were awkward jokes or just felt forced. And I don't know. I couldn't really get into it, at least personally. I felt like Earth's Mightiest Heroes was definitely a stronger show from the little I saw of Avengers Assemble, but it may not be a bad show. I just would have preferred the latter. But anyway, as far as Thor goes here, I'm this design, and they posted a few more teasers this morning where they literally said the Herald has come to the island or something like that. The Herald has arrived on the island, and I guess the Herald being Thor. I did not know that they referred to Thor as any form of herald in the Marvel comics, because I thought that was the role of the Silver Surfer, who was supposed to be the herald for Galactus, who they are also teasing now. Um, there was another there was another image uploaded shortly after the one, proclaiming the herald has arrived on the island. That was clearly supposed to be Galactus. So that's interesting to me. Like, and it makes me, I saw a few people talking about it, and I was wondering, is there going to be some sort of in-game event featuring like Galactus literally just coming to the island? Like, are we going to get to fight Galactus? Like, that would be an interesting, sort of thing. Like in my head, like what I figured it'll be is more like the Travis Scott event, where for those of you who saw that, it was just a concert, of course, but right after the initial part started, Travis Scott himself shows up on the map, and he's huge, and he's stomping around the map and dancing and doing his thing. So that's what I'm thinking they're gonna do with Galactus. He's gonna come in. It's gonna be mostly just an event, and we'll of course be right there. But he's gonna do something. But Galactus will physically be on the island. That's what I think is gonna happen. Now, what I think would be cool is if they could do sort of like a raid boss sort of deal, and have it be where everybody who gets in, collectively, everybody teams up and takes on Galactus to push him away. I don't know if they've done anything like that before, because, like I said, this the upcoming season, that season 4 for chapter 2, will be just the 3rd season I've played in. So I don't really I'm not super familiar with the Fortnite lore and everything. I know this is supposed to be the next season is supposed to be a major story driven thing, and it's going to involve the Marvel superhero pantheon, or whatever they want to call it. But I'm curious to see where they're going with it. I've already heard a lot of different rumors, or read a bunch of supposed leaks from the internet about what's coming. I mean, we know now for sure it's a Marvel themed no, there'll be a Marvel themed season, but supposedly the Battle Pass will be, well, I don't know if it'll be full of Marvel skins, but that's supposedly what's gonna happen, is that the Battle Pass will feature several different Marvel skins. The ones I heard, of course, Thor obviously is happening. I don't know if that will be the one that sort of serves the role of Deadpool and Aquaman in the last 2 seasons, where you just do some missions and you unlock him. But I think it would be cool. I heard who were the ones I heard? I saw somebody say Wolverine. I think I saw somebody say Storm. I think there was another one. Maybe? I don't know. I saw Wolverine and Storm for sure. So if we could get some X-Men skins, or some more X-Men skins, I should say, because they did the whole X-Force thing in the last season with to go along with Deadpool, where you got Psylocke, Domino, and Cable. So yeah, that shouldn't be too hard, I think, to see more X-Men skins. But I would also figure we'll get some of the Avengers in there too, like Thor, probably Iron Man. Black Widow was a skin in this game already. I wonder if they could possibly do another Black Widow skin, like as an alt, and bring back the old one. Because they already did just this week and last week for the DC fandom thing that's going on now. They brought back Harley Quinn, and they brought back they brought that whole pack with Harley Quinn and Catwoman, and then they also brought back the Batman pack with two different versions of Batman. So I think they could do a new Black Widow skin and just couple it with the old one. I mean, plus we already got Captain America in the game, so that would be fun. Like you could build out the Avengers. That would also help my show, my Deadpool show I'm working on. I got the first episode out. That's on my YouTube channel too. If you can ignore the very bad Cable voice I did, but I got plans. That's the good thing about all these other skins supposedly coming to the game is it gives me more characters to play with. Like the whole show is gonna center around Deadpool, but he's gonna be meeting all these characters. He's gonna be interacting with the X-Force. Of course, he's gonna interact with the original characters, the original Fortnite characters too. But on top of that, I'm also throwing in the DC characters that are gonna be in the game because we know that the Joker and Poison Ivy are coming to the game in November. So, and who knows what else is in store. If this is a whole Battle Pass themed after Marvel, there's no telling how many different Marvel characters will show up. Or any other potential, like, not revealed yet DC characters who could show up. So, then again, as I'm sitting here thinking, well, no. Well, actually, yeah. I wonder if the timeline would be right, though. How long will this particular season last? Would that carry over into November? I mean, I think it could. Because the new season is going to start at the end of August, and the Joker pack with Joker, Harlequin, and that other Midas skin is supposed to drop in November. That could be within the season. I guess it depends on how long they want to run the season. Because the last season ran, they delayed it a few weeks. So who knows? It may be that the next season after this one is DC themed. Who knows? That's too far ahead for me. That's just speculation. So who knows? But I'm interested in it. A lot of cool ideas. Like I've seen people say they hope that Galactus shows up and destroys the island and goes back to whatever the original island was. I'm like, I don't think they're gonna do that. I actually like the island that we're on now. I never played the first one, but I think the current island is pretty good. It's got pretty much everything you could want as far as like an environment. It's got some deep woods. It's got a few towns and cities that scattered around the map. It's got a beach. It's got the whole sunken, revealed undersea castle thing. It's got it's got a few like hidden bases scattered around. What else? There's this a snowy mountain or two. There's of course the swamp. So there's a lot of different environments there. I guess they could maybe do like a desert one where it's just sand dunes. I don't know. But I'm probably gonna at some point review this last season and then go back and do the second one because I didn't think about doing that until just the other day. I think that could be a fun video to make. But hopefully there won't be any issues with this season. I know some people are like, and I brought this up a few times, the building mechanic. I don't remember building being quite like it was at the start of season 2. Like I said, I don't know. It just seems like people weren't building skyscrapers in the blink of an eye like they were when I started playing back in, what was it, February? it just seems like that seems to have been like a shift in strategy for people to play this game is to learn how to build and build quickly, and much more so now than it used to. I'm sure if I go back and look through some of my older videos I've got saved on my I probably will see some building taking place, but and I've tried to adapt to it and try to, at least get to where I can build a ramp really quickly and swap back to a gun, just to where I can get, up on these platforms. It's still really quick, which I play with a controller. I think the people who play with a keyboard are the ones that are doing the building at lightning speed. I could be wrong though. I just prefer playing games on a controller. I was playing, what was it, Destiny 2? I played Destiny 2 a little while back, and I got it from on Steam, and I usually use a Pro Switch controller when I'm playing Steam games, and it's with the exception of maybe that game and one other maybe, my Switch controller tends to work very well. But for some reason, it would not work with Destiny 2, and I had to use keyboard. And it was kind of awkward at first. I eventually got the hang of it, but I still think I just simply prefer the controller. Nothing wrong with playing with a keyboard. It's just I prefer to have a controller. But anyway, hopefully this season of Fortnite will be exciting. It will be for me. I know some people don't like the big crossover things, but they're building up to some kind of war. I mean, they've said that explicitly. The war is coming, which is sort of weird considering their current legal war they're facing. But I've wondered if that means that there's going to be like with the tease with Galactus, is that maybe not going to be what it seems, or if they maybe they're teasing some sort of Marvel DC war. That would be interesting. A season based on the Avengers versus the Justice League. That could be a cool theme. I think it's been a really long time since any official, DC and Marvel crossover has happened. So, if there was like an entire, so if this season is based on Marvel and the next season is based on DC, and then you do another season where it's the two, supposed heroes of justice, doing battle with each other, or maybe teaming up to take on each other's villains, that could be something. But anyway, I think I've said just about everything I could say on this, as far as Fortnite goes. Only other thing is I'll just briefly talk about the lawsuit with Epic and Apple, and apparently it's still a pretty ugly fight. Apple said that Epic wants special treatment for Fortnite, but apparently Fortnite says they asked for they didn't ask for any money. As far as like if they win the lawsuit, they don't a financial compensation, and that what they asked for they want to have available for all game devs. So I don't know. The only thing I will say is I don't like that Epic has turned this lawsuit thing into like some sort of like campaign. Like you can go order hats that say free Fortnite on it and design some stuff like that, like apparel. I'm like, don't make this a marketing campaign. Like that's not gonna make people want to see you win. So I don't know. I don't like that they're turning it into a marketing campaign. I mean, it just reeks of just give us more money. I mean, I wish they wouldn't do it that way. I wish they would take it seriously and not turn it into some kind of a game. Especially if like they're trying to, if there's some sort of, symbolism in Galactus coming in this season, and it being so maybe like, actually Galactus represents Apple and he eats everything, but we're gonna stand up to him. I mean, like I could see somebody like, I would hope that that's not why. I mean, one guy did say it's all connected, so I don't know. I'm gonna hope that that's not the reason that they wanted to use Galactus in this season, is not to be, you know, a symbol of Apple. I mean, just do what you gotta do, and let it go. I mean, I don't know. I see so many people saying they hope both sides lose the lawsuit. I just don't turn it into a marketing campaign. But anyway, I'm trying to move on now from something that isn't fun. Something that is fun. Nintendo did have a sort of indie world showcase, sort of mini Nintendo Direct, and among the things revealed is that Untitled Goose Game is getting a co-op mode. That'll be fun. I haven't finished that yet. I'm halfway through. I know it's not a very long game, but I just haven't finished it yet for my channel. I've got 2 videos up from that playthrough. I need to finish that. Several games I need to finish. But I didn't notice it at first. Like, I thought it was just a second goose, but apparently it's a new goose model. It looks slightly different. It's got like this, I think the second goose has that, I don't know what you call it, like in its beak, sort of like a hump. It's not really a hump, I guess. I don't know what the technical term for it, other than maybe it's just the shape of his beak. But that could be a lot of fun. Some of those missions in that game, you definitely, if some of them are definitely a challenge, and you got to know exactly what to do. I mean, like I said, it's not a complex game, but there's a lot of waiting for the right moment. Like the picture I used here where this kid, where you're supposed to steal his glasses, and you just have to, you have to wait for him to bend over or bend down to where he's low enough for you to just, grab the glasses right off of his face. And that can take some time, unless because I remember the last time I played, it took forever to get this kid to finally either put down the little airplane he was playing with long enough to, what was it, maybe tie his shoe or something. I think that's the goal. If you get him to tie his shoe or to pick up a new toy, then he'll stoop down long enough for you to get his glasses. But I would imagine this. I don't know how much different this will be, playing this game with with somebody else. It'll certainly make the game easier. Now, I don't guess there's any new content besides that. I don't think they mentioned anything like that. It's kind of a shame. But who knows? Maybe they're making a new Goose Game. As popular as this was, I don't know why they wouldn't make a second one. I know it might be kind of hard to, as people have find out, it's hard to catch lightning. It's hard to catch lightning in a bottle twice. So, and this game sort of was that. Like, it was just this little simple game that people found, and people fell in love with it. If they make a sequel and they make it bigger, maybe give the goose more, things it can do. Maybe it can fly in the next one they get to certain objectives. Who knows? So, would it sell as well? I don't know. It certainly didn't seem to work out that well for like Mario Maker 2. The first game for the Mario Maker was like huge. And I don't think that the second Mario Maker was a failure, but it just didn't have the hype. So, who knows? I think people love the Goose Game, though. So, I think there's a chance we could see a sequel. If not, maybe some more DLC for it down the road. They'll add a few more, you know, areas you can explore. I would like to hope so. But I didn't really watch that indie dev thing or the indie world showcase. Just didn't feel like it. But I did. This was the one thing that stood out with me. There were a few other ones. Like there was like, what was it? A game called Hades that had some really good looking animation. And there's like the Spirit Farer or something like that, I think was the title of the first game they showed. Those all look interesting. And I'm not saying like the games they showed were, damn, those are terrible games. Where's the real direct? Like, no, I'm not saying that. This was the one thing that I saw from that just really stood out. At least in my mind. There were some other things. Like I said the Hades game looks kind of cool. But anyway, that's all I know as far as that indie show went. But there's some other rumors going around that I think could be interesting. I think last time, just as I was about to do the show, I saw something about No More Heroes was rated for release on the Switch. And but apparently somebody found Skyward Sword either listed in the catalog or rated to be released on the Switch as well. That would be interesting. Apparently this year would be if I remember right, this year would be the 10th anniversary of Skyward Sword, which is crazy to think that game's already a decade old. Ugh. I mean, it's crazy to think that Breath of the Wild is as old as it is, and that's the most recent one. But anyway, there's some interesting, things to think about for Skyward Sword in that, it was built to be played with a Wii remote. Now, I think you could, how would it work if they were to bring it over to the Switch? I think the Joy-Cons could basically do the same kind of thing. I mean, it's a wireless controller. It moves, you can control with motions and stuff like that. Or could they give people the option to play it with a controller, well, like your standard controller? I mean, I think that going forward, as fun and as innovative as stuff like using the nunchuck and the Wii remote was back in the day, and the Joy Cons now, I think people need to be given options for how they want to play. Some people aren't going to be comfortable doing the sword movements with the with Wii remotes or Joy Cons. Some people aren't comfortable with that. So, giving people multiple ways to play the game, is going to be important. Kind of like how Twilight Princess was both released on the GameCube and the Wii, so that when if you wanted to just play the old way with just a standard controller, you could. Now I don't know if that worked the same way for Twilight Princess on the Wii or not, but I do know it was motion controlled to work with the Wii remote. I just think if they are gonna bring Skyward Sword over, you gotta do multiple, gotta give people multiple ways to play it. But so if this happens, like Skyward Sword was interesting, but I just feel like it was more one of my least favorite games. Like, which is weird because this is supposed to be the one that sets the whole Zelda continuity in motion. No, this is where we see the original form of the demon that would become Ganondorf for the first and only time. And we learn Zelda, of course, which we already knew this, but we learn Zelda, of course, is the reincarnation of the goddess Hylia. So there's and we see where the people came from, where they the the Hylians come down from the sky, on these great big birds, which is why there's a great big bird all over their like shields and royal stuff. But I hope this is true, and I don't have a graphic for it, but I hope the other thing I saw could potentially be true. Is supposed, um, I don't know if this was listed anywhere or if this was just purely a rumor, but supposedly there was some sort of talk going around about maybe some kind of 35th anniversary Zelda collection, like that rumored Mario All Stars 2 collection that's supposedly coming this year. Like all the other rumors about that came out around the time of that Mario All Stars 2 rumor ended up being true. I think around that time there was a rumor there was a new Paper Mario game which was going to harken back to the original, which the one we got wasn't quite that, but it sort of was. And I think around that time we got rumor of the port of Pikmin 3 coming. That did end up coming. That is on the way. So I personally feel very good about the All-Star rumor. I think it's going to happen. Or at least I would say I'm more... I would say I'm optimistic. Now, of course, they could not do one. They could do neither the Mario or the Zelda collection. But it would somewhat surprise me. Like, to me, it sounds like it's just a good idea. And just like something like, oh, of course you would do this. Makes perfect sense. But at the same time, it is kind of, Nintendo we're talking about. So they could very easily just decide they don't want to do that. And just like, we don't need to remaster these old games. So I think the one I saw, the rumor about that was like a supposed set would have like remasters of Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and what was the other one? There was another one I thought. The only one I can think of is Skyward Sword, but if that's gonna be like its own re-release, I don't think so. But they got to do something with some of these old classic games they have because they're not playable on current systems. They're clearly trying to just be done with the Wii U. But one of the benefits of the Wii U is that some of those old Nintendo 64 games are still there for sale, like $5. But at this point, I think the best thing they can do with that is once they finally do shut the Wii U shop down, is make a Nintendo 64 online catalog, just like they did with the NES and the Super NES. And just, if you buy the Nintendo Switch online, you can go on there and play any N64 game you want. That's what they need to do. I think that would get a lot more people to get on board with that. I know a lot of people already pay for that and use the NES and Super NES libraries, but I think an N64 library would just, people would be really excited for that. Especially if you can say maybe make well, I guess you wouldn't have to. Have they edited any of the games in those libraries to be playable online? As far as like you can play with other people? That you don't necessarily have to be like at home, like there's online play. I don't know if they've done that or not. I haven't seen anything that I can remember to say that they've changed the games like that. But I think that could be fun. But as far as any potential Zelda release, I would like to hope they would that they would do something like that. They've already done a Zelda's Collection Edition before. I had that one. Where you got the original Zelda game from the NES, you had Zelda 2, you got Ocarina of Time, you got Majora's Mask, but you also got a short demo from Wind Waker. So you had all that, and then they had a collection of trailers for the different games, or just, I don't know if it's necessarily trailers, but just, there was one big video that they had that was set to like Wind Waker music that went over like the whole Zelda catalog as it stood at that time. And they took you through like the games up through from the oldest game, the first Zelda game, all the way through to Wind Waker. They even covered like the Game Boy games, like the original Link's Awakening, the Game Boy Color games, the Oracle of Seasons and Ages. I think it wasn't one Ages. I know one of them was Seasons. Um, so I hope that rumor is true too, just like the Mario rumor. I hope that's true as well. Because I would definitely like, but then again, like I said, just like the Mario one, like for these older games, like for Ocarina of Time, like Ocarina of Time already has a remaster, and so does Majora's Mask. So I wonder if they would just port that. Would they port the remakes of those instead of the originals, or would they rebuild them from scratch? Like I've seen, like I don't think that the remakes of Ocarina, I don't think the remake of Ocarina of Time looks that bad. I think you could port it up, but it's not the original. So, and if they were to do the original, would people really want like that kind of thing? Would you want an HD version or a remade version of Ocarina of Time, or would you want the classic one? Like to me, it sounds like a cool like looking at Mario 64. Like to me, the primitiveness of those graphics, at least the way they look now, the blockiness of it, and like the trees being just two-dimensional images that that don't rotate. They're not 3D figures. They're just there, like the bombs and some of the other things in there that are they're animated in a way so that it's an optical illusion to give you, to trick you into thinking you're looking at a 3D sphere. No, it's just a 2D sphere, and the eyes of like the bombs just rotate around. So it's just a little animation trick. But would people actually want a game like that where you lose that, where it actually is a 3D bomb? A fully 3D rendered bomb or character or whatever the case may be, with maybe rescored music, or Mario's not looking so blocky anymore. Would people like a game like that? I mean, I guess you look at stuff like Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot, these old games that got remasters and all that stuff, and people would probably want something like that. I mean, I think it would be cool to see. But at the same time, I value the dated look of these games. You could see how old they are. Like there's a charm in these old graphics because that was the best you had at the time. I mean, Mario 64 literally basically set the standard for 3D platforming. So even though it's forever old now, in terms of like for people today, which I have no idea of knowing, like do like little kids still play like 64? Do the little kids of today, have they ever had a chance to play 64? They've had Mario Odyssey, which is more or less the closest thing to Mario 64 we've had in years. Probably the closest thing to a sequel to 64 we've ever had. I wouldn't call Sunshine a sequel. I think it was a little bit just too different. But I still say Odyssey feels more like Mario 64 than Sunshine did. Doesn't mean I hate either game. I love Sunshine. I love Odyssey. But there's not too many Mario games I just absolutely don't like. Like even Mario Galaxy, I'm in the camp that doesn't really think Mario Galaxy was necessarily this big great game. Just because I thought the controls are going upside down and everything was a little just too hard to get adjusted to. But I didn't hate that game. But anyway, the other thing was, I think there was a listing for some kind of Breath of the Wild 2 collection that was quickly removed after people found it? Could we be getting news on that soon? I don't know. Part of me is thinking that Zelda 2 is not coming this year. I don't know. Then again, I don't. What is there any big release planned for Christmas this year for Nintendo? It might be. If it's not the Mario collection that's supposed to be coming this year, I could see them pushing back Breath of the Wild 2 to sort of to maybe next summertime ish. I mean, at least that's what I'm thinking. Now, supposedly, there's a big rumor going around that there'll be a Nintendo Direct next week. But that seems to be a rumor that pops up every few days now. I think people are starved for a Nintendo Direct. And, like, I get it. I would like a new Nintendo Direct, a full, like, 45-minute Direct full of, big game announcements. Not like just indie thing, which the indie things are fine. There's nothing wrong with those. But Nintendo Directs are a spectacle. They're a hype machine. I mean, they get people excited. And the fact that we haven't had one in a while, people are, disappointed. Now, of course, there's a perfectly good reason for this. It's just, this year has been a terrible year. This whole pandemic business has ruined a lot of things for a lot of people. And certainly some things way more important than video games. But I get why people want a Direct, and I get why people keep hoping that there will be one. Because I want one. But I'm not going to, go beat Nintendo over the head. Give us a Direct! Like, no. It's disappointing we haven't had one. But, we don't need them. They're not necessary. They're just fun. I guess it's more like a community thing. People feel more connected to other gamers when everybody's reacting to something at the same time. Like all of us, because it doesn't matter what console you're loyal to if you still do the stupid console wars thing. Everybody pays attention to Nintendo Directs. Enough so that both Microsoft and Sony have tried to emulate the Directs themselves. So they're big. So a Nintendo Direct is a big event, and of course, people want more. No one's ever satisfied for long, so of course, people want more. But anyway, I hope that some of these rumors are true. Like, I would be excited to see, Skyward Sword, even though it's probably my least favorite of the games, as far as story-wise and gameplay-wise. Like, I don't know. The game just didn't leave a huge impact on me. Like, the Master Sword being alive, it's a cool idea. It's a cool story. It's just not the coolest, in my opinion. But, I mean, it doesn't mean it's a bad game. But, I would be happy to see, Skyward Sword, come up. I would be happy to see all these Zelda games come up. I could play Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time is one of my favorite games ever. I've probably said this here on the show on a previous episode. I know I've said it on Twitter, but I used to rent Ocarina of Time. My mom would go rent Ocarina of Time for me when we had this little place called Movie Gallery. You could go rent videos and video games. At the time, we had just got like a Nintendo 64, and we would go rent games. Before we would, we only had a few games that we actually owned, but then we would go and rent some from time to time. And the games I always would like to rent would be like Mario 64. We rented Pokemon Puzzle League, I think, once. Banjo-Kazooie. There was a Duck Dodgers game on the 64 we used to rent. But Ocarina of Time we would rent all the time. Because it was just that good of a game. And it was always funny because when you return the game, your save data goes with the cartridge, of course. And so sometimes you would hope, wonder, are you going to get a cartridge? When you rent the game, are they going to give you a cartridge that's got a finished game on it, or you know, are you going to get an empty cartridge where maybe somebody started a game and then they just didn't pick it back up? Maybe they didn't like it. So I could play Ocarina of Time over and over again, and I like Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask can aggravate me because of the whole 3-day time limit thing, but I still like that game. I like Twilight Princess. I like Wind Waker. Which is something else, is I think that they're stalling the end of the Wii U shop is because the HD versions of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are still for sale on that on the Wii U shop. I think Wind Waker's $20. That's a steal for a game like that, considering that if it was on the Switch, they'd be charging $60. So if you have a Wii U, probably go buy that. I'm not sure what Twilight Princess is. It might be $22. So if that's true, $40 for 2 of the games. Can't really beat that. But I hope that the collections rumors are true. I still feel like there's a chance we could see Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 news sometime soon. If we have a direct, I'm sure they'll mention it. I'll say that here. If there is a Nintendo Direct soon, I feel like we'll definitely get some Breath of the Wild 2 news. And that's going to be 3 predictions right there. The next Nintendo Direct will have, if there is a Nintendo Direct, Breath of the Wild 2 news, if there is any truth to the Mario Anniversary Collection, that's where they'll reveal it, and the next Smash character, of course, because it's been a little while since we've had Min added to Smash now, and I think I said this last time, but going by a timeline of when they would announce a character to when the character would be revealed, I think we're getting close to the time where it would be time to reveal the next character. Maybe like every 3 months or so. So that's what I'm thinking. But I've talked more now. I'm kind of out of topics. So appreciate anybody who tuned in. The viewer counter says I got 1 viewer, so, and they've been around for a while, so appreciate you, viewer, for listening to me talk and talk and talk. But if you like me, if you like the show, I always appreciate people, like I said, I'm gonna try to keep the show as positive based as I can. I know I talked about the epic lawsuit and everything, and I won't be so afraid to talk about any potential drama that I would not mention something like that. Especially because I love Fortnite so much. I don't like the game. Just is just fun to me. But I'll try not to be super negative all the time. I don't want to do a completely negative show. But anyway, I hope you enjoy listening to me. All the episodes of this show are on YouTube. I know that Twitch doesn't save the episodes, but for like 2 weeks, and then they get deleted. Like I mentioned earlier, every Friday at 5 o'clock will be a 5 minutes of Fortnite video. That's in addition to my regular noon drops of gameplay of different kinds. This week, this week was all Pokemon Sword. Next week will be Digimon World. So, I actually just recently beat Digimon World. I beat the story. I didn't do any of the extra stuff. I know there's the secret boss and everything. I will go back to that at some point, but for now, I finished that. I'm going to get all of that uploaded. And then at some point, I'll go back and do the extra stuff. But I also wanted to move on to another game. Probably Digimon World 2. Because at least then, there's not having to wait in that game. But, so, subscribe to this to me here on Twitch and to YouTube. You get all that stuff. You can follow me on Twitter, where I'll talk about anything on Twitter. On Twitter, there is no limit, and I'll give my full opinion on anything and everything there. And then I made a Ko-fi page. I've had that for a while. I made a promo video for my channel. It's about 2 minutes long, I think. Which is some random clips of games, everything from Mario to Killer Instinct, Fortnite. I think I threw in a Hamtaro Game Boy clip. But you can support me on Ko-fi. That would be really appreciated. And hopefully I can come up with some more ideas for regular content to have. Hoping to do something with Mugen. I've been working on bringing Mugen back, trying to build up a good roster, and get the right combination of stages and music to use. But who knows? Suggestions are always welcome, and that's going to do it for today. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe and all that little stuff. Support me through Ko-fi if you can, or if you want to, of course. And we will see you next week. Hopefully there'll be some more things to talk about. Hopefully more good things. Maybe that Nintendo Direct rumor will be true, and we'll have a lot to talk about next week. If not, then maybe we'll push the show back a week, because I'm not going to just do a show where there's nothing to talk about. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you'll come back, and we'll see you next time. Later.
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario, take one step, and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now. You got it. It's the Mario. Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario, take one step,